Hi guys! Okay, today we're back out at the shooting range and we're going to catch up on a couple of videos. One, I've had several of you asking me about my spiller and burr. Now, this is the one I got as a kit in antique about 2 years ago, and I shot it to get it sighted in, then I kind of drifted off from it. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I'll give you a better up close right quick to look at the antiquing and how that's patinaing and etc. now. And the other is the Rogers and Spencer that I recently got. So today we're going to shoot both of these. Two different reasons, opposite ends of the spectrum. One, we're going to shoot the Rogers and Spencer with the Johnson & Dow bullet, and then we're going to shoot it with the kEITO Ojama hunting bullet, because this is a hunting gun to me now, and with the power that it's developing, that's what I'm looking at. It's dragoon in power, so I'm thinking big hog and possibly deer from a very short range, thinking like 15-20 yards from a deer stand to get them. And so we're going to think about that. And on the spiller and burr, it's on the opposite end. One of the reasons I backed off shooting my spiller and burr is a little bit of a flaw that bugs me. Upon firing, you get so much flash backward around the frame and the top strap and the caps on the two opposite ones. So if you are firing on the one in the center, if there's a cap on the one on the off side or a cap on the one on this side, the gas pressure blows the caps right off. And this has got the Tresco nipples on it, which cured a lot of problems. But it's simply gas pressure. If I've loaded it up for a full load, I'll pull the trigger and it will slap the cap so hard the cap will come flying off and hit my knuckle with it like thump. I mean, it's like a bee stung you. And it's pure pressure. And I made sure the cap's on there good and etc. The cap is not falling off, it's the pressure, and your hands turn black from the soot. That's where that back pressure is coming over that frame and coming back this way, because of that big flat face where the barrel is, and it's coming right out of the chamber. So we're going to go the opposite way, and we're going to go down low. We're going to try it with like 15 grains and see how it likes that, with the possibility of printing 10-15 grains. So we're going to see about that. But first, we're going to finish loading up the Rogers and Spencer. And I've got 4 loaded, and I'm going to put one more in it. And I want you to watch as I do it. Okay? So let me adjust the camera. Okay, we're going to use the Guns of the Old West reloading set. We're going to make a paper cartridge. And we're going to use the 44 caliber that says it's for the Walker, which is for dragoons. Okay? We're going to take a rolling paper, which is a touch too long, and I will get up here and I will measure it. I'll put it up there and I will roll it around, make sure I get like 1.5 wraps, which is about right there, and I'm going to mark the paper. Taking that back off. Now, taking my scissors on my Swiss Army knife, I will now roughly cut it across right there to take that piece off. Then I'm going to take that piece I cut off and cut off about 1/3 of it. So I make a square like that. Okay? Now, we're going to take the paper, get it up here, measure it out to the right place, and we're going to use a Elmer's Extreme glue stick. Oop, don't take off on me now. Taking the Elmer's Extreme glue stick, I'm going to take that 1/3 and I'm going to put some glue on it, just like that. I'm going to get it up there, line it up. Now I'm going to start tightly rolling that paper around that mandrel, just like that. Now give it a good squeeze, make sure it's good and stuck to itself. Scoot it up a little bit higher so it's just a little bit not covering. I'm going to take that end and I'm going to roll it around the end of that glue. Just put a little bit of glue on that bottom, like 1/4 inch. And I'm going to take that piece, stick it in the middle, roll it over so it covers on all sides, kind of give it a twist with my finger, and then using the bottom mandrel, put in place, squeeze it in there good and tight, and then take my finger, pop it back out, come around from the other end to make sure that bottom is thoroughly stuck on there good, just like that. Now gripping it and gently turning, break it loose of the mandrel and stick it back in there as a mold to hold the tube. Okay? Now the powder measure on this throws 40 grains. So I'm going to take my little bitty funnel, stick the funnel in the hole, fill up the powder measure. I'm using Pyrex till it's full. Pour it into the little funnel like that. Give the table a little tap. Gently lift up on the funnel and let it pour down in there. And I like to take the end of the mandrel and go down and just give it a little squeeze to make sure it's tightly pressed all the way around. Okay? Now we're going to take a pre-lubed Johnson & Dow bullet. And along that bottom edge right there, we're going to give a good run of that glue. And we're going to carefully sit it down inside that paper. And push it all the way down. Just like that. Now, pushing it down and pushing up on the bottom with our thumb, squeeze them together tightly, and then give it a little push, and out comes our paper cartridge. Now, taking the Rogers and Spencer, putting it on half cock, we're going to rotate around. We're going to take that cartridge, we're going to put it in just like that, and notice it drops right in. No problem. Rotate underneath the rammer. We're then going to bring down the rammer on it. Take something to protect our hand because it's going to, this bar is a little sharp, and we're going to push it home. Better if I stand up. It's not really much harder than just loading a Johnson & Dow by itself. You just got to get it to, you know, shave that lid just like that. And so there they are, fully loaded with Johnson & Dows. Okay, now what we're going to do is, let me adjust the camera. Okay, that is the load for a Dragoon. That when the gentleman, Mr. Weiniger, came up with it, he was duplicating what the issue ammunition was for Dragoons. And so I have simply loaded with his and made up Johnson & Dow bullets for a paper cartridge for a Dragoon load. And as you saw, it loaded just fine. No problems. Now the only thing we got to do is just tap it with my old fingers not wanting to work today. You know how that goes. Now I'm going to load up the spiller and burr, and I'm going to go and put up a target. Now, and then what we're going to do is we're going to shoot across the chronograph to get velocities out of the Johnson and Dowell. We're going to shoot across the chronograph for the spiller and burr. And we're going to try to do a group at the same time. That's a lot for that, but like you, powder ain't cheap, and neither is caps. And so we're going to try to do as many operations at one time as we can to save a little bit of money. Because blowing a ton of caps and a lot of powder right these days is not that good an idea. We need to hang on to resources. Recap that and where it fell off because I didn't crimp it. But that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to guarantee what these groups are going to be. Alright, hammer down on an empty. She is now ready. I'll return her to her holster until we go out onto the shooting range over here and shoot. So let me load up the spiller and burr. That's going to be 15 grain charges and a 375 round ball. And I'll be right back and we'll get out there and shoot. Okay, I've got my bench set up, my rest set up, I've got my chronograph up, and I've got a target set up. I'm going to zoom you in on the chronograph because I'm sure that's what you're wanting to see anyway. And this is with the Johnson & Dowell paper cartridges loaded for the Walker/Dragoon with Pyrodex. Should be 40 grains of Pyrodex and then the Johnson & Dowell bullet. So I'm going to zoom in on the chronograph and then I'll fire and then I'll record them down. We'll average them when we're done. When I zoom back out, you get to see the group if there's any kind of group. You know, because this is the first time I fired it with this, so you know, we're learning. So let me angle you in a little bit better. Down just a touch. Okay. You're good right there. Okay. You know how it is, you're trying to get everything at one time and it just don't happen. Okay. On the deck, centered up. First round. That's error. Okay. Second round. Error again. Reset it. Shouldn't have any trouble reading this. Maybe I need to slide back just more feet. Alrighty. Now. Alright. Let's see what we do this time. Can't help but notice I ain't seeing no holes in the black either. Error. Wow. I'm seeing way up and left. I'm going to drop my point of aim down. Still error. It might not be able to read this. Okay, I'm having all kinds of technical difficulty today. I shot the Rogers & Spencer over and every single one of them was an error. It wouldn't even read it. I shot the first Spiller and Burr, and it said error. Now I'm trying elevating it a little bit and see if that makes a difference. I've seen that do something in the past. So we will try this. Okay, it's on. Alright, let's see what we do. Error. Well, we ain't doing too good today, is we, guys? Bad caps. Well, that was a dud, wasn't it? Well, just to prove I'm not sugarcoating everything, I will be posting this to show you when it all goes wrong. So, what do I think went wrong? Well, first off, it's late in the day. It's about 4 o'clock, and we got a lot of glare right now with a low white cloud cover over us and extremely high UV. And I'm betting that white glare from above is blinding the chronograph, where it's just seeing a constant glare and there is no interruption that it can tell because of all the extra glare. It's not in the direct sunlight, but anything up is just white right now to look at it. So I'm betting, because it's white sky screens, and it's supposed to be telling that it crossed the first one and went to the second one, and it just ain't telling it. So, there's no sense in wasting more ammo trying to make it read when it ain't going to read. So, what we're going to do is call it a day and come back tomorrow. Now, shooting the Johnson & Dow bullet in the Rogers & Spencer a la Dragoon load. Wow. That puppy bucked like a 45 Colt. I mean, it was just straight up like that first round. And I settled into it to figure out how much it wasn't painful or anything to shoot it. Shot it normally. I don't think I'm stressing the gun. It didn't give me any bind up or anything shooting it. But still, I mean, again, this would be a hunting load. This ain't something that I'm going to go and, you know, just for fun, let's go out and shoot 200 rounds out of. No. But I'll come back out tomorrow morning, and hopefully we'll have clear skies then, and that sky screen will be able to tell something then. Morning, guys. Okay, second day on the range, take 2. I've got my chronograph set back up. I got a little better sky clear now, and I shot across it with my 22 and it registered. So we're going to try it with the Rogers & Spencer with the same load, the Dragoon load, and this will be with the Johnson & Dow bullet. Now I will call out what the velocities are, and then I will add it up during editing and post the figure of velocity. So wish me luck. Okay, apparently the concussion of that Dragoon going off stunned my camera and put my camera into pause. This is just jinx. This I'm gonna start calling this gun camera shy, because apparently it is camera shy. But anyway, the numbers are for the first shot 935, second shot 925, third shot 890, fourth shot 935, fifth shot 910. I will add them up when I get to the house and put the total up here. And that's the average velocity with the 40 grain charge with the Johnson & Dow. Now I'm going to try the same thing but with the kEITO Ojama bullet. So let me reset and we'll try it. Okay, now number 2 we're going to be shooting with the kEITO Ojama hunting load. These load easier than the Johnson & Dow. These are 457 in diameter. I believe they're 225 grain. And they sit in their well, rotate under well, and load well. And I really like that big flat nose on them because in actual real world experience of shooting game with the cap and ball revolver, a flat nose does better. We think of modern, we want penetration, penetration, penetration. But at the low velocities of these guns, we want it to hit, and rather than pierce, we want it to tear, act like a parachute and hit and impact all that energy in. And so we used to even take our 22s and we'd flat point them off the top and make them hit with a lot more hit and be a better game gun, game cartridge. And so this is what I'm going to be hunting with when I take this out to hunt, because that's going to smack him. Okay, let's see what velocities I can get. Fingers crossed that the camera don't kick off this time. I've moved it back another couple of feet. $964. $882. $932. $927. I'll reload and put one more round over that and make the average up, and then I'll be back in a minute with that. Okay, that comes to 964, 882, 932, 927, 945. That 882 is probably on me. I didn't compress it quite as deep because pushing it in, I haven't marked my rammer yet for a depth, and so I may have gone just a little bit shallower, not as deep. Trying to make them by eyeball, but you know, I think what they used to be. But that will, for a 5-shot group, that gives a velocity total of pretty impressive. You know, for 225 grain, 45 caliber, moving over 900 feet per second. Same thing with the J&D. Of the two, the kEITO will load the easiest, and I feel would be the better choice for a hunting round. If you're thinking of using this for a hunting gun, the kEITO Ojama would be a better choice in my opinion. Even with the big stuff where you're trying to penetrate, I'd rather have smack and damage rather than nice smooth hole. And a pointed bullet wants to pierce in and go deep, which is why they wanted it in the Civil War. They wanted a round that when it would hit, it would penetrate and go through to the next guy and do damage 2 or 3 if possible, in mass troops all standing there shoulder to shoulder. See, I want to smack a deer or a hog and put him down. I'm not interested in hitting that tree over yonder. So that's my thing. Okay, so that's the detail of that. Now I'm going to do a separate video on the on the Spiller and Burr. I brought it out yesterday and went to shoot and etc. And I'm going to bring it out and shoot it separately in the next video. and we'll put it over the chronograph and talk like that. I'm needing 375 round ball for that, and all I've got right now is 380, and they're just too hard to load. It's where you're going to load and you're scared you're going to bend the rammer. And it's just because the chambers on it are a tad tighter, and I think that the 380s are overkill. And so I'm going to get me some, or cast me up some 375s, and then I'll do some shooting with that. But we did work out where we went down to 15 grains, and that made a big difference. So that's where we're going with this. Hope you enjoyed this, guys. Hope that answered your questions on whether or not this thing could be a hunting gun. And from my thinking, yeah, this is a hunting gun. This is a hog or a deer up close gun. As long as you do your part and be thinking. Don't be thinking 100 yards. Be thinking bow range. 25 yards max. Up close and personal where you can place it. Practice, 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 practice. If you can hit a Coke can with it 5 out of 6 tries, don't go deer hunting with it. But the size of a Coke can is about the size of the heart. And if you can't hit that hard every time you aiming, don't be wasting it. Don't wound nothing. Be a responsible hunter. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.